Hi, I'm Norma Brecker and I'm the career doctor, and I'm here for the fourth part of a series that we've been doing on dealing with a difficult boss. I wanted to share a story with you that a client told me a few months ago. This client had been with her company for more than 12 years. She's smart, she's talented, and she's a great communicator, and she's absolutely loved by her staff of 7. So you're probably wondering what the problem is. The problem is that she's so good at her job and so loved by her peers that she's seen as a threat by her boss. Now, although the boss's reaction is neither reasonable or rational, it's reality, and it's my client's reality. And my client has to deal with this reality or deal with the fact that she's dead in the water career-wise. You always want your boss on your side, and a boss who is threatened by you, even though you're not doing this intentionally, is ultimately a boss that won't support you and may even thwart you in your career progress. The client's boss is experiencing a career turndown. She's seen as old school, she's harsh, she's angry, she's passive aggressive in her responses to my employee. My client unintentionally is a threat to her because my client is liked better by her staff, by her coworkers, and also by many in upper management. Now, you may be thinking that this should not be my client's problem, and I couldn't agree more with you, or I couldn't agree less with you. It is the boss's problem, and the boss has issues that may be emotional or psychological in nature, but they're beyond our knowledge and our ability to solve. So what my client has to do is to learn to be more aware of herself and her impact on her boss so that she can moderate her behavior and at least have a chance of improving the relationship. If your boss perceives you as a threat, it will become your reality. Being a threat comes in the comparison, not in the underlying element. For example, being smart is great. Being smarter than your boss can be a problem. In my client's situation, she is smarter and more talented and even a better communicator than her boss. Her boss feels threatened and reacts badly towards my client. My client presented a new idea at a meeting, and everyone at the meeting was very taken with the idea. The boss was furious with my client, although she pretended to like the idea at the meeting. But after the meeting and henceforth, she was cold, dismissive, and even angry to my client when my client saw her or spoke to her. So what can my client do, and what did my client do? Well, first, we figured out that the boss is threatened, and it's my client's job to the best of her ability to manage her boss. When she has a good idea, and she has many, she has to be careful about how she presents her idea. The boss may have a weak ego, and hence she has to use kid gloves when presenting the idea to her boss. Secondly, in order to gain support and consensus, she needs to try to build up her boss whenever possible. And if a situation is problematic, she has to be careful never to let the boss think she's blaming him or her, or something that the boss did. She has to make sure that she couches that in very careful language. In other words, she has to communicate carefully and with sensitivity to be able to protect her boss's fragile ego. Finally, she needs to good-mouth her boss. As Michael and Deborah Singer-Dobson say in their wonderful book, Managing Up, good-mouthing your boss doesn't mean you don't take credit for what you've done if somebody compliments you on something you've done, but it does mean that you throw in something about your boss and their contribution to the compliment. So for example, if somebody says, "That was a great idea you presented at the meeting," you can say, "Yeah, and Jane," who's your boss, "spoke about it with me right before our meeting, and she really helped clarify a few points, and I'm thrilled, and that's why the idea really, I think, hit us on the mark where it had to be." Again, you're not dismissing your role in terms of the idea, but you're good-mouthing your boss. And you know how fast gossip travels in the corporate arena, so good-mouthing is kind of a sort of positive gossip. Finally, you need to make yourself your boss's ally. I know this isn't always easy to do, but the more you align yourself with your boss, the better chance you have of your boss not viewing you as a threat. Know your boss's style, know their values, know their goals and their expectations. Try to make your boss look good. And when they look good, you're going to look good, and you'll be seen as less of a threat. My client has been using these ideas for the past month, and she called me this past week to tell me that she and her boss went out to a pleasant lunch. Now, rightfully so. My client still doesn't love her boss or even trust her boss fully, but what she has done is soften her approach when she interacts with her boss, and her boss is less threatened or perceives her as less of a threat. I also suggested to my client, and I would suggest to you this too, that you read this wonderful book, Managing Up, 59 Ways to Build a Career Advancing Relationship with Your Boss. Now, I'm not hawking this book. I don't know the authors, but I must tell you, if you work through this book systematically, you'll find some ideas that might help you improve your relationship with your boss and even remove the perception of you being a threat to your boss. Quitting a job, transferring to another department, or even complaining are always options, but managing up is the most successful way that you can advance your career within the organization that you're in. If you'd like some help on how to manage your difficult boss, please feel free to contact me, Norma Brecker, at mycareerdoc.com. You can also find me on Facebook or call me at 201-986-1716. Although you're being treated unfairly and judged and possibly even career stifled, you have to remember that your boss's perception does become your reality, and you are in the job of being a good performer, but also managing your boss. Good luck, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call me.